It's the 26th of March 1943, and in the dead of night on a rocky outcrop, point 209 to the British, Hikirangi to the Maori, 2nd Lieutenant Te Moananui-a-Kiwa Ngārimu and his platoon cling to a jagged ledge. Ngārimu's men are exhausted. They have held this ground against wave after wave of German counterattacks. Grenades have run out.
Mata! Wapaunga poporangi!
German helmets are visible just below the ridgeline. They are close, too close. Ngārimu does not flinch. He's bleeding from a wound in his shoulder. He looks down. He grabs a stone from the Tunisian earth and hurls it with the precision of a rugby pass. The stone strikes a German soldier, knocking him backward.
Ngā kōhatu. Whakamahia ngā kōhatu.
His men rain stones down on the Panzer Grenadiers. The German attack breaks.
Granate!
The bluff works. The Germans scatter into the rocks. But this is just the beginning of the longest night of their lives. It's 3 p.m. and the 28th Māori Battalion waits at the start line of Operation Supercharge 2. Their target is the Tebaga Gap, a narrow corridor flanked by steep hills. To break the German line, they must take the high ground, specifically the underfeature forward of point 209. Lieutenant Colonel Bennett briefs the officers. The plan is simple but deadly. C Company, led by Captain Arapeta Awateri, must capture the forward slopes. Ngārimu commands 14 platoon. He is 23 years old, a shepherd from the east coast of New Zealand. He looks up at the objective, a fortress of rock and dug-in machine gun posts. At 3:30 p.m, the signal is given. Orange flares burst over the desert. Aircraft roar low overhead, Spitfires and fighter bombers, the greatest air support the 8th Army has ever seen. Behind them come the tank busters, flying artillery hunting for German armor. The ground shakes, explosions walk across the German ridgeline. For 30 minutes, the sky falls on the enemy. Then, at 4 p.m, 200 guns open fire at once. A creeping barrage of steel screams over the heads of the Maori troops. Through the dust storm, 150 tanks and 3 battalions of infantry appear. Sherman tanks grind forward. The Maori infantry rise from their pits. They do not walk, they charge. They hit the slope, steep, brutal terrain. The German guns open up. Tracer rounds whip through the air. Mortar shells detonate, throwing men into the dust. But they keep climbing. Ngārimu climbs hand over hand up the steep face. Bullets kick up dust around his boots. He leads from the front, shouting commands, pointing his men forward. A German machine gun post rakes the slope. His men are pinned. Without hesitation, he charges it. He runs through the fire and comes up with his Tommy firing. He kills the gunners. Reaching the crest, he finds only one section, led by Corporal Tenetti. Tenetti fires a bring gun from the shoulder, standing in full view of the enemy. This allows the platoon to crest the rise. Lungs burning, they have taken Hikirangi, but now they see the trap. The smoke clears. The true point 209 is still farther back across a saddle. The Germans on the higher peak open fire. The trap snaps shut. The reverse slope is swept by machine gun fire. No cover, no way forward, no way back. A rifle bullet tears into Ngārimu's shoulder, stumbles but stays on his feet. He ignores the blood. He positions his Bren gunners, shouting sectors of fire. The sun sets. Darkness swallows the hill. Night falls, but the war does not sleep. The Germans launch a desperate attempt to reclaim Hikirangi. They charge up the slope, screaming. Ngārimu yells, The men rise, not in a trench, not behind sandbags. They rise into the open and fire at arm's length. The Germans fall back. Then they come again, wave after wave. The Maori soldiers meet the charge head-on. Submachine guns rattle at point-blank range. The attack shatters. The Germans retreat, leaving their dead on the rocks. Enemy mortars find the range. A piece of metal slams into Ngārimu's leg. He collapses briefly, then forces himself up. Under darkness, Battalion Commander Colonel Bennett crawls up the rock face to check his forward line. He finds the officers in bad shape. Captain Awatiri's leg is so swollen he can only crawl. Bennett gives a direct order.
Haere ki te teihana āwhina, katahoi au tōtou.
Awatiri refuses.
Kaore e pā, me noho a hou.
Bennett turns to Ngārimu. Ki te paia hau e pā. Tuku au ki a noho I te ake mea putane. Bennett nods reluctantly and slips back into the dark. The Germans are 20 yards away on the reverse slope. The Maoris can hear them shouting commands. Every time the Germans scream, the Maoris answer with the taunting call.
Ekoi!
A German soldier lobs a grenade. It detonates among the Maori defenders. The enemy breaches the position. The Maori line buckles. Ngārimu sees the breach. He hobbles forward, dragging his wounded leg. He raises his Tommy gun and fires from the hip. He kills the lead attackers with sheer will. Hour after hour, he holds. Morning comes. Dawn breaks grey. The ground is carpeted with bodies. 3 silhouettes stand against the rising sun. Just 3. The enemy launches their final attack. They come in force. Ngārimu does not take cover. He fires. The return fire is overwhelming. He dies facing the foe. But the battle isn't over. By afternoon, the battalion launches a final assault on the main peak. The survivors on Ngārimu's hill have a ringside seat. The Māori soldiers on the ridge begin to stomp their feet, slapping their chests. The sound echoes across the valley. They break into the haka. The roar of the war dance echoes louder than the gunfire. It is too much for the Germans. The relentless infantry, the tanks, and now the chanting of the men they thought they had killed. On point 209, one white flag begins to wave, then another, then a whole line of them. The Panzer Grenadier unit surrenders, not just broken by bullets, but by the spirit of the 28th Battalion. But the cost is paid in blood. Te Moananui-a-Kiwa Ngārimu was 23 years old, weeks short of 24. For his stand at Tebaga Gap, he was posthumously awarded the Victoria Cross, the first Maori soldier to receive Britain's highest military honour. In the fighting for Point 209, the battalion suffered 98 Maori casualties, including 22 killed. Their reputation in the desert became legendary. The Germans called them scalp hunters and feared their bayonet charges. It is said that even Field Marshal Rommel himself remarked, "Give me the Māori Battalion and I will conquer the world." Ngārimu's commanding officer noted that he was killed on his feet, defiantly facing the enemy. On 6 October 1943, the Governor-General presented the Victoria Cross to Ngārimu's parents at Victoria. 7,000 people attended, one of the largest Maori gatherings of the war. In 1945, the Ngārimu VC and 28th Māori Battalion Memorial Scholarship Fund was established to promote Maori education, language and culture, a legacy that continues today. The men of Ngāti Pororo named that Tunisian hill after their sacred mountain, Hikurangi. A young officer from the east coast of New Zealand gave his life defending it. His sacrifice at Point 209 helped break the Mareth position and open the route through Tebaga Gap. The 28th Māori Battalion would go on to fight through the deserts of North Africa, the mountains of Greece, and the long, bloody hills of Italy. But they never forgot Point 209. Want to see more incredible stories of courage, combat, and unbelievable moments from World War II? Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss our next film.